Most men are trapped in a silent addiction and they don't even realize it. I was one of them. It controlled my body, my mind, and it was draining my spirit. But one decision changed everything. Here's how I escaped, and you can escape too. Look, sex addiction isn't about just chasing pleasure, it's actually about running away from pain. Most of us are numbing ourselves, avoiding reality, escaping instead of evolving. Now, before stripping, I, had casual hookups and that sort of thing. I didn't realize that it was an issue. It wasn't that regular, but then it became an obsession once I started stripping. So with stripping, it just wasn't enough. And the stimulation just wasn't enough. One wasn't enough. So you keep going back for more. You get to a point where the more you drain yourself, the more empty you feel, the less energy you have. And again, you just keep chasing that high. Then when the stripping was all done, I turned to porn. And then a lot of us getting stuck in that cycle. And I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate. So, you look at porn, you want to bust a nut just to feel good, and then you feel depressed. So then you do it again to feel better, then you get more depressed, and then you're back again in the same cycle. And it's not a good cycle to be in because you're draining your main energy, you're draining your spirit, literally. One day I looked in the mirror and I was just looking at a man that was completely empty, lost, and weak. I realized I was a slave to my urges, and slaves aren't free. I thought, the way society makes you grow up, you think, chasing women and conquering girls and having fun and partying is the way to be. But I wasn't a man. I was just a lost little boy. No wonder sex sells in society and porn's free, right? Lust is a weapon that's used against us, and we become weak little slaves. And control is easy when you're weak and distracted and chasing, women and chasing thrills. That's how society wants us, weak and easily controlled. I realized going so far one way and being this type of man that society, makes you want to be in a way. But I realized there must be another way. There has to be a better way. There must be a reason that they're putting this porn in front of us for free, and all this, as I said, sex sells stuff. It's a weaponized thing. Even Instagram these days is like porn. There's a reason for this. They're trying to make us weak. They're trying to take our true power away from us. And then, getting away from stripping for a period of time, it was easy to kind of cut out the drugs and the alcohol because I wasn't in nightclubs. But then it switched. The addiction switched. So the addiction went to mainly weed, heavily on the weed and cigarettes. And then because there wasn't women around, it switched to porn. So I was still trying to get this stimulation and also caffeine and even like a lot of sugary treats and pastries and this sort of stuff. So, the vices switched to another place. It wasn't as bad as the sex and the alcohol and the drugs, but it was still a vice. Um, and then I was like, fuck, what the fuck is this? I realized I was still a slave. I was still trapped. Um, and I just made a decision. This is enough. This is fucking enough. And I had to break free. And yeah, enough is enough. So the steps that I took, step one, awareness is everything. Like most men and women, to be honest, they deny it, but they have to be brutally honest with themselves. You know, you got to look at your daily habits or weekly habits, and you got to ask yourselves: are they controlling you, or are you controlling your urges? Like whether it's drugs, alcohol, porn, gambling, shopping, media, food, sex, whatever. You got to ask yourself: is it serving you? Like really ask yourself: am I in control of this? Because if you're not in control of it, then those addictions and those habits, they become your master. And if you're not the master, then you're the slave. So for me, transmutation was the key word here. Transmutation over suppression. So I didn't just, well, I did basically quit the pornography and the sex, but I had to redirect that energy somewhere. So I needed to use that energy to better myself rather than just wasting it on looking at screens or with women. So I needed to build my body, I needed to build my mind, I needed to build my spirit back up to truly how it's meant to be, rather than wasting it just on, meaningless hookups and, looking at screens. And a lot of us are doing it. As I said, why do you think porn's free? It's a weapon against us. So, these days you've got NoFap, which is very, very common in the self-help kind of society and whatnot. So, but it goes a lot deeper than just not busting a nut for a period of time. So obviously you've got athletes, that do it before events. You've got boxers that do it before fights. But this has to come from somewhere. And where it comes from is an ancient practice that goes back thousands, potentially tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of years, that great ancient warriors, monks, kings, sages of history knew this secret, and they practiced this practice. So seed retention isn't something new. NoFap is nothing new, because what it does, it actually helps you connect with the higher part of yourself. So it actually literally helps you connect with the God within you. And the God within you is just waiting. He's waiting for you to guide it. But if you're constantly mindlessly just wasting it on these habits and addictions, and you're spilling your essence all the time, that part of you, that God part of you, the higher self, isn't going to be able to come through and guide you to your higher purpose. So you need to be able to refrain and, as I said, transmute this energy rather than spilling it. You've got to keep the cup full, and things will start to change. Now, if you want to break free, you got to find something that's greater than yourself. You need to find something that's greater than chasing this pleasure to live for. You got to find your purpose and your passion. And as I said, all the great sages and kings and warriors in all these ancient texts, they followed a discipline and lifestyle, and they didn't let lust control them. It's the fight from the lower nature with the higher nature. You know what I mean? The God part of you with the animal part of you. So most of us are running around like dogs just trying to hump a leg, when you should be running around like gods. You know what I mean? Trying to connect to that higher part of yourself to be your best self. But as I said, the seed retention or semen retention or NoFap, again, it's something that's new. These ancient warriors and mystics and, the geniuses of old, like, Tesla and Einstein, they all did this seed retention. They transmuted their energy from, the lower part of themselves into the higher part of themselves. And it's very important. It's an old ancient practice that is slowly coming back, but you've got to understand where it comes from. This practice was at the top of their list because they knew that it brought you closer to the divine part of you that's lying dormant, waiting for you to start to, realize who you truly are. And it's not just, don't bust a nut. It's about transmuting this energy to create the life you want to create. So listen, I want to give you a challenge. So, it's either, if you're not struggling with porn and sex, which, you might be pretty good with it, but if you have a real good, honest look at yourself, you probably do have an issue with it. So number one lesson, if you do have a problem with it, I want you to basically have a period of time. I want you to try for 7 days without any mindless release. Now, if you can do 7 days, if you're a single guy, it's going to be easy. But try to stay off any porn or any kind of, exotic content for 7 days. And trust me, don't bust a nut. Just hold it. And tell me after 7 days, if you're not feeling more energized, you're sleeping better, your brain resets itself. So a lot of good benefits for it. And tell me if by about day 5 or day 6, you're not getting looks from girls and attention from other people. So there's 2 ways that it works. The longer you can go for, see, I've had periods of 7 days, 2 weeks, a month, 3 months, up to 6 months. Now, you don't have to go for these long extended periods of time, but the longer you go for, basically your energy builds so much that the outside world starts to see it as well. So the energy that is within you will be attractive and magnetic to some people, but it'll also be repulsive to others. So depending on the level of consciousness that the other people have, they will either be magnetized towards you or they will be repelled by the energy that you hold. So just as an experiment, try for 7 days without mindless release. Hold your seed, hold your power, give it a crack. Trust me, after 7 days, if you don't feel a difference, then sweet, bust nuts, do whatever you want to do. But trust me, this kind of discipline builds discipline in every part of your life. Now, if you don't have a problem or you don't think you have a problem with porn or sex, but I bet you do, you've got to be really honest with yourself. Try to have a period of 7 days, pick something that you know that is not serving you. Be honest with yourself, be brutally honest with yourself. Just pick one thing for the next week and drop it off. Because energy is never lost, it's only transferred. If you can drop off this one habit, trust me, you'll find energy and time to pick up another habit that is going to serve you. Because this one habit probably takes up a lot of your time and a lot of your effort, mental energy, and also spiritual energy and just energy overall. So if you can drop one habit, ideally, stop busting nuts. Trust me, you'll be magnetic, you'll be energized, you'll be starting to release the God man within you. If not, try something. As I said, you got gambling, you got, food, you got weed, cigarettes, could be shopping. There's a lot of things that you can drop off. So just trust me, 7 days. And if you don't feel good after 7 days, then fair enough. But if you can get to 7 days, continue it for 2 weeks, a month. And then all of a sudden, you're going to be broken free from that habit. And trust me, you're going to find a new habit to be able to, go towards. So that's the challenge. Try it for 7 days. And after 7 days, report back to me and tell me how you're feeling. If you're in a relationship, it's a bit harder, right? But instead of being a little grovelly little bitch and be like, oh, come on, darling, can we get it going tonight? Because you're always giving the woman the power to say yes or no if you're going to get it going, right? So if you, as a man, and you're in a relationship and you say to your wife or you say to your girlfriend for a period of time, no, I'm practicing something, I'm working on some discipline, she's going to want you more. As that magnetism builds and that energy builds, every night that you say no to her and you take your power back, she's going to want you more and more and more and more. So take the power back. Don't be there trying to hump a leg, trying to bust a nut every night, because again, you want to feel something. Hold it in, build the energy. She's going to want you even more. And she's going to see women that are looking at you from across the shopping center or across the restaurant. And again, that's going to bring you guys closer. Men aren't supposed to be busting nuts all the time. Again, why is porn free? Why does sex sell? It's because they're trying to make us into these weak little fucking beings because they know who we truly are at our core. All the greatest men of history knew this. And also the powers that be, whatever you want to call it, they know this. The Freemasons, the Rosicrucians, the Knights Templars, all the top people that basically are in control of us, they know this. And they want to keep it hidden from us. But you can take your power back with this practice. So give it a crack. Just try for 7 days. Trust me, if you don't feel any different, fine. Go back to jerking it, looking at screens and watching other people fuck. It's not good anyway, but trust me, give it a crack. If you can push to 2 weeks, you're going to become a magnetic god. Trust me, it's going to work for you. Your aura is going to increase. Your attraction is going to increase. Your power, your higher self is going to start to come into you. Trust me, when I started to do this, and for the longer that I did it for, I just started to have crazy dreams, and the dreams were telling me certain things, right? Your dreams tell you a lot of things that you need to know. So, and I started just being attracted to literature. So ancient, mythology and stories and all this sort of stuff. Like when you start to hold this energy, your higher self starts to come through and whisper in your ear, in your dreams and in the quiet moments of your life. So that's when I found breath work, and I found all these ancient texts with all this spiritual knowledge that kept me pushing towards this. And I started to go down the rabbit hole of where does this seed retention really come from? And then I started to realize it. So trust me, you hold this energy in and you will be led by your spirit, because, basically God favors you. God favors you because you are being disciplined and you're being who you're meant to be. You're being the king, the warrior that you're meant to be, not the weakling that is easily controlled. So trust me, give it a crack and tell me how you feel after 7 days. Like I was a slave to my animal urges, But now I'm on a path to my higher self and my higher destiny. You know, if you're ready to break free, drop a fire emoji in the comments and take your power back. It's time to become who you were meant to be. Haven't you had enough yet? If you want some guidance, hit me up on Instagram and I can guide you through any kind. I can send you some literature, I can send you some videos to help you understand this even more. There's a lot of great information out there, but I'm gonna be coming at you with even more stuff. So subscribe to this channel for more videos and truths like this, because I'm only getting started. Trust me. We've got to take our power back as men, as warriors, as warrior kings. Trust me, we've got to do this. We can do this together. We can't be controlled if we become our true power, and our true power lies within. It's time to get it. It's time to be it. Let's do it. Let's be our best selves.